Hail to the football team. Hail victory. Hail to the football team. Fight for all DC. Oh yeah. Okay. Um the new uniforms these guys got are the same as the unis before. So like if you liked them before, you probably are going to like the new ones. But even minor changes really make me appreciate things. So for some reason I do like these uniforms a little bit more than the ones they had before. The Washington football team went 3-13 last season. They had a different name then, but I'm not going to say it. Okay? I have no idea how Vernon Davis scored that touchdown week 1 against the Eagles. I just remember that highlight. I just remember seeing like something on the bottom of the screen, like Vernon Davis, and then like however much yardage he scored the touchdown from, and being like, man, he must have gotten wide open or something to score that touchdown, and then see the play, jaw drop. Huh? Yeah, it didn't make any sense. Also, now that I think about Vernon Davis, I'll just point this out now. When I talk about transactions later in the video, because of the team name change in the offseason, it actually made it very hard to get clear spots for who's still on the roster, who got moved, in the transactions they made because they were listed as like two different teams, even though it was just a team name change and they're still the same roster and stuff. It just screwed everything up and it made it really annoying, to be honest. So I think Vernon Davis either retired or is a free agent now. I don't think he's back on the team, but I also don't think I put him on the lost list, just because, like I said, there was so much crossover that I was missing. I don't think I missed anybody huge though. There's not anyone that I can think of that I'm like, shoot, forgot about them. So I think we're good for the video though. I didn't know Scary Terry came out of the womb balling. And when I say that, I just mean, like, straight up, week 1, he was balling right away. I didn't realize that. I thought last season I didn't notice him for, like, the first maybe five weeks of the season. And then I started being like, ooh, who's this guy? So it was cool that he actually did really well right from the beginning of the season. Week 1, he was on the field making plays, scored a long touchdown, too. Yeah, it was impressive. I mean, half my notes for this freaking team are about Terry McLaurin because he's he's just a baller and he's what they've got right now. So Matt and I just got a sack, and I was just wondering. I think people said he's probably like the best player on the defense. I was just wondering if you are a Washington football team fan. Is that true? I didn't know sorry, already said that. Terry McLaurin catches contested balls nice and can run past people. I mean, he was in the first game he was breaking people off with nice routes and getting open, and then after that I saw some routes where he was more contested and he was still able to make plays on the ball and catch the ball. It was good to see. An all-around receiver is great to have. He's such a fun player to watch. I love his celebrations in the end zone. His celebrations in the end zone were very enjoyable. Steven Sims is very fast too. Um, that that's a great player to have. I mean, he could be. I write later, and I'll just make this point now because I'm talking about Steven Sims. He may be like the new age Deshaun Jackson, just that guy in the league now. He'll run past people. Now because jet sweeps are popularized, get those big plays and stuff. Troy Apke also got a pick at safety, and I just remember him because of the Deion Sanders interview that was so hilarious that it just makes me root for him. That was so funny. Um, and is every running back on this team that got a carry last year off of it? I think they may be. I don't know. I may be forgetting some, but they have literally none of the running backs, seemingly none of the running backs left that carried the ball significantly last season. Um, Terry McLaurin jumps over, I think it was Marcus May, and just basically yams on him in basketball terms, catching a great pass. that was above his head and just jumps like a foot above him. He also had a one-handed touchdown grab behind his back against the Packers, but they were losing by like 20 points or something. Maybe not that much, but a decent amount that it didn't matter, and it was right at garbage time, so nobody saw it, and I just saw it and was like, whoa, that's awesome. Yeah. Huh. What is this? I wrote a note here, but I have no idea what it's referring to. I must have misspelled something. Nate Orchard also made a lot of plays on defense and in special teams, so he's a more valuable player than I thought he was. That was interesting to see. It's a name I've heard a few times, but I didn't think he was much of a playmaker, but he was. Um, then I think this is the last note. Nope. There's two more notes on McLaurin. I have McLaurin. He could get hit by a semi truck going 60 miles per hour, but he'll hold on to the football. And I can't talk about Keenum or any of the running backs who aren't on the team. So I guess Dwayne Haskins looks okay, and that's kind of with like the shrug emoji, like meh. Keenum got a lot of time, and I saw a lot of running backs that just aren't even going to be on the team this season, so there's nothing to talk about with them. So yeah. Also, Steven Sims maybe. Oh, said that. Haskins passing stats, however, rather than me just talking about him, 119 for 203, 1,365 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Yeah, that's almost about as game managery as you could get. But yeah, that's what he did. But I mean, I think this team would be better off with the game manager starting for him. Alex Smith is back in the building. I mean, give it up for Alex Smith. Everything he did and went through, that's amazing for him. I would love to see him on the field, and I think this team would actually be a lot better if he's playing quarterback for them, as long as he's not really nervous, which I don't think he is, because if I was really nervous, I would not be stepping back onto the field. You got to be a crazy type of guy to have your leg broken and then come back onto the field. Terry McLaurin's stats at the end of the season: 58 grabs, 919 yards, 7 touchdowns. Those aren't that amazing, but considering the offense he was in, those are very good. If they can get him more volume, I guarantee those numbers will shoot up even more because he's a tremendous receiver. Dustin Hopkins, kind of crappy field goal percentage it makes. You want to get that up this season, or you may be looking for a new job. Quentin Dunbar, 4 picks. Fabian Moreau, 3 interceptions. 8.5 sacks for Ioannidis, 7 to Montez Sweat, 6 to Jonathan Allen, and 5.5 to Kerrigan, all in the sacks categories. Landon Collins led the team with 117 tackles, and also 105 for Cole Holcomb and Jonathan Bostic, the inside linebackers. Matthew Ioannidis had 11 tackles for loss, and in second place, surprisingly, Landon Collins had 9 tackles for loss. That really did surprise me. Now, once again, this team does pretty badly, and they're heavily injured. Really wondering if I should be. If I think teams do a lot worse when they're really injured. Who did I just do? I just did the Bengals and these guys. Maybe these teams aren't terrible teams like they were last year if they don't get injured as much. But I still think there's some teams that are just bad and aren't going to lose, aren't going to win more than 4 games just because of the pure lack of roster talent. But like the Bengals and Washington football team here, they're just they're losing guys, and that hurts them, and that drops their win totals from say maybe 6 or 7 to down to like I think it was 3 in Washington's case and 2 in the Bengals case. So yeah. Injuries, though: Vernon Davis, Darius Geis, Reuben Foster, Bryce Love, Jordan Reed, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, Paul Richardson, and Alex Smith all missed significant time last season. All of those are recognizable names that I put on there too. I mean, you're missing a lot of guys that you just don't want to miss. And then losses as in people who left the team. We have Jordan Reed first. Where did he go? He went to the 49ers, right? I'm thinking he went to the 49ers, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. That doesn't that seems kind of strange that he would sit behind Kittle. So I'm guessing I'm wrong on that. I'd have to look to see where he went, but he's definitely not on the Washington football team anymore. Paul Richardson also left. He went back to Seattle. That's weird to me. Whenever players go back, especially if they're not like, may as well name a guy I've already talked about in this video who basically has no relevance to it. Deshaun Jackson returning to the Eagles again, super late in his career. Kind of cool, but Paul Richardson returning to Seattle. Did they really want him that badly? That's a weird receiving room they're creating up there. And for some reason, they're not re-signing Adrian Peterson, even though the other 6 running backs that were on the roster are gone. They're like, get AP out of here too. They must be liking one of these rookies in camp because they just got rid of AP. So he signed with the Lions now. So yeah, that's what's up. Sean Davis also gone. Wendell Smallwood gone. Trent Williams gone. I think he's the one who's on the 49ers now. Jeez, if that's wrong, I'm really looking bad. But Case Keenum went to the Browns. Josh Norman to the Bills. And Quinton Dunbar, the interceptions leader for this team last season, is also no longer on the team. Additions. Once again, I'll just mention it one more time. These are the guys that I could find because it was very weird with the team name switch trying to find the guys. Ronald Darby, Logan Thomas, J.D. McKissick, Peyton Barber, and Dontrell Inman are the main guys that I found that I thought were significant additions to their team. And I don't know, but none of those names really make me go, wow, they're going to be a heck of a lot better this season. So, yeah, that's kind of tough. I mean, Logan Thomas, maybe their starting tight end, which, that's difficult. Or J.D. McKissick or Peyton Barber taking number 1 running backs. Peyton Barber was a number 1 running back at one point, though, so maybe. Yeah. So who'd they get in the draft? The draft is going to be... I'm looking at this draft, and I'm looking at a decent number of guys that may play this season, which, once again, not going to make the record look too great this season, but it helps them in the future. Chase Young. I think everybody knew that he was going to get picked here. It was kind of obvious almost. I'm not as big a fan as other people are of him. I just don't like the lack of versatility. He just seems like all he's trying to do is run around the tackle every time and maybe give a little swipe to, because he's usually rushing from the left tackle, so he's usually giving a little swipe to the left tackle's left hand, trying to get around him quick, but he's basically just trying to sprint off the line around the tackle and get to the quarterback as quick as possible. I haven't seen him do many other moves with success. So until he does that, which he's an athletic freak. Like DK Metcalf last year, there was all the questions about him in the world, but he was an athletic freak. And we saw what happened with him. The athletic freak showed out well, very well. And if he can, that'll be a great thing. It's just, I do not like the lack of versatility. But I mean, in college, with that one move, he was still able to produce a ton of pressure. So there's no system can work perfectly for everybody. And what I mean by that is you could see him only, I'm worried about the lack of versatility, but maybe he sticks with that one move for his entire career and becomes one of the best defensive linemen of all time. Antonio Gibson is a running back / wide receiver. All I needed to know was that there was a slash in his position, and he's a baller. If you're actually listed on roster with multiple positions listed, I mean, you're a baller. Because no one who is like a 6th string receiver and a 4th string running back is going to be listed in multiple positions. They'll just be listed at one. I mean, you wouldn't even think about it. You wouldn't even think about making your 6th string receiver your 4th string running back, or your 4th string running back your 6th string receiver. whatsoever. It's only guys who are playmakers, and he's a playmaker. That's exactly what I saw from him. He's a big play threat every time he touches the ball. That's exactly what I wrote, and that's what I believe. I'm really excited to see what they do with him, and I also want to know what position he's going to play, because I feel like he's going to have to play running back with, and I don't know. I think it actually said it on the, oh man, I almost called them not their name, but the football team's website. I think it said it on there, and I'm leaning towards that it said he was a running back, and I think that's what it has to be, considering the lack of running backs on the roster, but I don't really know for sure. And then Sadiq Charles was a third round offensive tackle, and third round offensive tackle, kind of that range where you still could get a value guy, still could get a starter. So we'll have to see what he does for them. He could be a nice pick for him. Antonio Gandy Golden, spectacular catches galore, a deep threat, and he was just jumping over guys, finding ways to catch balls that should never be caught. And none of these other guys, I hate to use the he's going to be the off-brand player of the video. The thing is that I hate to use the off-brand player of the video here, because he's his own guy. He's really talented, and I think they got to steal it where they picked him. But I'm going to call him off-brand Randy Moss. Yeah, I think that's fair because of his abilities and his at least decent speed. He was able to get past guys in college. He showed that, and yeah, I'm pretty hyped to see what he does. He could be pretty good. Keith Ismail is a center, mid-round center. He's getting kind of later. He was a fourth-round guy, maybe a fifth. I think he was a fourth-round guy. Not really sure what's going to be up with him. Probably going to make the roster. Probably just going to be a depth guy, though. I mean, I don't think there's much chance of him starting unless this team is very weak at center. And I can't remember the guy's name, but I'm pretty sure from just random memory, could be completely wrong again, that they have a decent center. So I think this guy's just looking to fill a backup spot for now. Kalike Hudson, playmaking, blitzing safety. The only thing, it's very hard when you're only watching guys' highlights to actually say like, oh, this guy's bad at something. But this man would get interceptions, and he would so poorly time his jumps, and then like he would have no idea how to catch a ball above his head either, and he would jump in the air but still catch the ball like at his stomach range when the ball was like a rubber ducky, like straight up in the air, and then he'd jump and catch it in his gut. It just looked kind of funny. I mean, and I think that's why they blitzed him so much. He was able to get a ton of sacks from the safety position because he timed him really well, and he came off the edge a lot unblocked. It was good, but yeah, the interceptions were ugly. I can't lie about that. Cameron Curl, he's an interesting cornerback prospect. Shows some flashes. Leave it at that. And James Smith-Williams. Honestly, I literally watched that video, and then I start recording this video, and my note is, yeah, I'm not seeing much, and that's pretty true because I can't even remember what I saw him do in those clips. I can't even remember. He's like the latest guy in the draft. He may have already gotten cut. I mean, cuts already happened. I just haven't even checked. All right, let's talk about who they're playing this season, though. They've got their divisional opponents, Philadelphia, the New York Giants, and the Dallas Cowboys, twice apiece. Philadelphia's roster is a tier above them. Dallas's is probably 2 tiers above them, at least talking roster-wise. We have to see what the win-loss totals are for Dallas, but roster talent-wise, Philadelphia and Dallas are probably big steps above them, so I think it's easy to say that I don't want to give them any games against those teams. Give them 0-4 against that. However, the Giants are kind of in the same tier as them. I was trying to think whether I really want to give the advantage to the Giants or the Redskins here, and each of their teams is a little different, but not a ton of roster talent, so I'm just going to say that they'll split it. Giants and Redskins will probably split their series. Each team will probably grab a home win. Yeah, that's what I think. So I think in the division, 1-1 against the Giants, but then lose every other game. So sorry, that's a 1-5 record for the Washington football team in the division. And I'm kind of nervous because I feel like I just said their old team name, and I hope I didn't, because they're the Washington football team now. Um, okay, who else do they play at home? We got a 1-5 record moving into the home games against non-divisional opponents. Wow, that's kind of rough now that I'm looking at it. They've got Seattle, the Rams, the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Panthers. Oh man, I think Seattle's tier above them. L.A. the Rams tier above them. Baltimore way tier above them. I mean, those are probably all simple losses. Just we can count them out now. They're probably not going to win those games. So I mean, that's moving them to 1-8, and then the games they have a shot in at home are probably the Bengals and the Panthers game. The the Bengals, ooh man, there's weapons though. That's the thing. You see, with the Bengals, you've got so much talent all around that offensive side of the ball that they'll be able to spread it out. And then it's really if the Bengals will be able to stop the whoa, almost said it there, the Washington football team's offense. um, this is so funny just doing this video trying to remember the name. Keep a counter if I've screwed up that many times or not. Yeah, but the Bengals have just got so much talent around on offense. I think they'll be able to move the ball pretty well against the Washington football team, and then Washington will probably be relying on their offense to keep them in that game against the Bengals defense. The Bengals defense isn't anything crazy, but Washington's offense, as of just last season, is only Terry McLaurin. And Terry McLaurin is the only guy who did anything significant last season. I guess you could kind of mention Dwayne Haskins, but even that, I don't know. The Panthers too. The Panthers are Panthers really, you look at them and you're not like, besides Christian McCaffrey, not many superstars, but I feel like that team is actually pretty well balanced. I don't think I picked them to have a very high record because I'm pretty sure they had a tough schedule, but I think the Panthers are better than the Washington football team. And I'm almost leaning towards losses in both those games. For Washington, and I think that's what I'm gonna say. I think after looking at the home games, there's probably that's tough to say though. I mean they got it. They're the home team though against Carolina or Cincinnati. I don't see them losing, only winning one game next season. So, I'll just throw them a bone and give them this one here because it'll be against Cincinnati or Carolina, one of the two. They gotta grab a win there because I can't see them only winning one game next year. They got enough talent that they'll do more than that, but still it may be hard. Now for the away non-divisional opponents, they got the Arizona Cardinals, the San Francisco 49ers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns, and the Detroit Lions. I think Cleveland's much improved. I think they're a tier above. Pittsburgh's got Big Ben back, tier above. San Francisco, Super Bowl running up, tier above. Cardinals really started getting hot at the end of last season, got that passing offense down. We're the most efficient running game in the league, and they added DeAndre Hopkins to that core. I think they're a tier above this Washington team, too. I think you can hand them losses in all those games. That basically only leaves you up to the Lions game. Now, I don't even think the Washington football team really even stands much of a chance in that game. Um, they could pull it all together and bring something together, but right now I'm predicting 2-14, and that's a prediction. That's what I'm trying to be as correct as I possibly can be. So I'm gonna say 2-14 is my prediction. But how far off do I feel this team actually could get? I mean, even if this team plays to its highest potential, which is asking a lot because teams playing to their highest potential is obviously kind of a ridiculous thing to say. It's what happens, but I still don't see like one, two, maybe three, four, five, six, seven. I think at most. I think if you guys a tremendous season for the Washington football team this year would be a 7-9 record. But still that's I'm just saying, this place was burning in the offseason. There were so many things wrong with the organization and they had nothing to do with any of the players on the field. You've got a new head coach there now. I think he's a good hire. I like Ron Rivera as a coach. I think he does a lot of things the right way. But I don't think this team is gonna win many games next season. This was basically just a. This was basically just like they're not tanking, but this was basically like okay, we need to just take time and fix this season. That's what this season turned into, and the fans most likely aren't gonna be at these games anyways. So, or at least not a lot of them. So I guess they're okay with this season being the fixer-upper season. And that once again leaves my prediction for the Washington football team at 2-14. So, if you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching.
2020 president candidate.